This is a Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 68.
But they finally filled me, and it was at the very top.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host.
Once had to finish co-host Chez's breakfast for him. Come on, Chez.
Clay Trader.
All right, so here is the setting. We're in Pittsburgh. It's the day after our main event, and we're eating breakfast. I walk by this table, and there's two Canadians and our esteemed co-host Chez sitting at the table. And I look down at his plate, and he's got like 8 pieces of French toast just sitting. All right, not really 8, more like 3/4 of a piece of French toast. I said, Chez, are you going to eat that? He says, no, do you want it? I said, absolutely. So I sat down, and yes, I had to finish the breakfast of our co-host Chez, which was French toast covered in like cornflakes or something. What was that, Chez?
It was covered in cornflakes, and they called it crunchy French toast.
Now, I know how some people are going to portray this, so I just want to, nip this in the bud before it gets any further. But you were done eating, right? I did not like bully you out of the way and steal your breakfast, right? You were done.
I'm glad you finally given me a platform to speak about this, but no, I was not finished. Clay came over and says, Chez, I'm a big bully, and I'm going to take your lunch or your breakfast right now. And yeah, no, I was done. There was like 6 pieces of, French toast on that. And considering I don't usually eat bread at all, I was freaking brimmed.
And I was thinking about that, considering you're on West Coast time, and then we were on East Coast time, and breakfast was, 9? So that was basically like you eating like a 6 a.m. breakfast, which I'm assuming a lot of times you're either just waking up or maybe not necessarily eating at that time every day. So
usually on a bunch of water and, green tea at that time. So yeah, I just put 5 pieces of French toast in my stomach. I was, ready to go back to bed almost at that point.
Yeah, that was funny though, but I'm glad. I'm all for that. And actually I like to, associate with people like that, because that way I get like a meal and a half.
You had
a meal I pay for, but yeah.
And you were sitting with, 2 Canadians, so it was almost like this big international breakfast you just had.
It was. They offered me maple syrup. It was there's not a shortage of maple syrup. I'll just leave it at that. So anyways, we have a fantastic show here today. We are talking with Romeo. He goes by YankeesVsBoston in the chat room. So if you recognize that name, that is what he uses, but we call him Romeo just because, as we talk about in the interview, that's a little bit too much of a mouthful. But where did this screen name come from? Well, he explains this later on in the interview. But I will say, this had me on the edge of. I'm going to speak for Chez too, because we can see each other as we do this. There's a couple times where we were collectively holding our breaths, like, where is this about to go? Because Romeo. He doesn't mind a little risk. I'll put it at that right now. His definition of risk, he does not mind it as much. And he did some things where, I think, we were on that edge of our seat, right? I mean, there's a lot of gray area for his definition of risk. I think that's a fair way to put it. I was
actually on my edge of my seat, and like Clay said, we could both see each other on the webcam while we're doing this, and I was just waiting to see what the twist or what the turn was going to be. But yeah, this is going to be a great podcast.
Yeah, so I guess we won't offer any more types of spoilers, but Romeo likes to go big or go home. I guess I'll just leave it at that. And without further ado, let's just hop right in with Romeo. Hey, Romeo, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
We just discussed this. Actually, this is take 2. I'll be honest. I screwed up the first intro. So, but then I blame myself in terms of, I did that to make Romeo feel better. That way he doesn't have to feel like he's got to be perfect. But anyways, we were discussing before we got started. In the chat room, he goes by YankeesVsBoston, but that's a little bit too much of a mouthful. So he said, Romeo totally works. So that's what we're going to go with. But for those of you in the chat room, YankeesVsBoston, I wouldn't say that you're in there all the time, but you definitely make appearances. So hopefully some of you listeners do recognize. So let's hop right in. We did not really discuss anything at all before we got started. So I have no idea anything about your journey at all. So I'm excited. This is always kind of unknown waters that we're treading in here, but this makes it definitely exciting. So where did everything start for you? How did you hear about the market? And what kind of got you interested enough to want to, really get involved in terms of putting real money on the line?
Okay, well, I graduated in 2002 from UT Tyler, and I got a really good job over here at a chemical plant. Maybe a few months after that. So you know what? I had a little bit extra more money. I wasn't making anything before, so when I stepped into this really good pay, I decided, hey, I'm gonna take $1,000 and see what I can do with it. And well, CDs and savings account. I mean, it's crap. So I looked at the market, and as a matter of fact, I opened a Twitter account before I did that, and I was like, wow. And this guy popped up. I mean, and he had this thing said happy penny stocks or happy something.
Oh yeah, what was that guy's? I totally happy.
Happy something.
Yeah,
But he
yeah.
made me happy because I'm like, yeah, buddy, like that's what I'm talking about. Because he was like showing like 200% gains and how everybody's fooled about, you know, not getting into it. And so what I ended up doing was I went to Scott Trade, uh, and I opened an account and I took $1,000 and I went straight into a stock called PDMI, Paradigm something right now. But anyways, it was trading at triple two, point triple two. And I thought, you know what? This thing was like in the dollars. I want to become a millionaire with $1,000 that I put in there. I think I had about 15 or 1,500,000 to 2 million shares. And
I want to take a just out of curiosity. What made you? Okay, so you want to get into the markets, fine, and then all of a sudden you jump to. So I opened a Twitter account. What the heck did Twitter have anything to do with the market, or did you open up a Twitter account just because
I just wanted to see what was out there. I heard of Twitter. I just never had it.
But you still your main primary purpose of opening Twitter was for the stock market, not because you wanted to follow like Beyonce or something.
Yeah,
like that,
no.
right?
It was just strictly stock. Because when you go into the Google account or Google and you start typing in stock markets, I mean, it starts giving you crap like penny stocks. How to become a millionaire off of penny stocks? And I was like, okay. And then that guy happened to have his picture right next to the damn Twitter thing, and I'm going, well, what's Twitter? Let's do this. And I did, and I followed him. He was the first one I actually followed.
Okay, so it was more so Google was your primary starting spot, and then Google led you down the rabbit hole that led you to Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
okay?
that's it.
Okay, I was going to say that'd be definitely a first if literally your first thought was, yeah, I want to get in the markets. Therefore, the first step would be opening up a Twitter account. But all right, that makes more sense. So you go to Google. Google shoves you down the happy pen, whatever that guy's name was on Twitter. You sign up for Twitter and follow him. And then did you buy because this guy was telling you to buy? Is that where you got this PDMI stock from?
No, actually, PDMI was just me. I was just looking at it, and I just went through every penny stock that I could think of that was like, I don't know, just gonna make a move as far as the next coolest thing for the medical industry. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for the next hottest stock that I think could really change the world. And
So
PDMI, I thought it did it.
So you're thinking more of kind of like a macro level, like what fundamentally could be a big change for this industry. So you're not using charts at all at this time, are you?
No, not at all. And the only thing I pulled up was it was that Google thing. I typed in PDMI and it gave me Yahoo, and I pulled up a chart and I was like, wow, this thing was, I don't know, some reason it said like $1,000 and it dwindled down to triple O two, and I thought, this is crazy. With $1,000, I can actually own almost more than 1,000,000 shares.
Now, the reason, obviously, now why it was maybe not obvious to our new listeners, but if you ever see a stock like that that's trading like below a penny, but used to be trading for like $500, $1,000, those are called reverse splits. So the only reason that happened was because that stock went through a bunch of share structure changes known as reverse splits. We'll put a link down in the show notes to the reverse split video that I've done that explains more of how that works. But that Ches and I both come across that all the time where, well, why'd you do that? And even on the podcast here, well, why'd you do that? Well, I was looking back at the chart and this thing used to trade for like $80 and now it's down to like 0.007. And it's like, well, it was never actually that high. That's the welcome to it's like Disneyland, the wonderful world of reverse splits in penny stock land. So, so was that the main thing? It sounded like was I want something in the medical world that's going to change the world. And then the second driving point was the whole logic of, well, it used to be trading for $1,000 and now it's this cheap. Is that pretty much what your quote unquote trade plan was at that point in time?
That was it. That was my strategy, bro.
And I guess without further ado, how did that all work out for you?
Okay, believe it or not, it went down to 0001, and I was like at 0.
I believe it.
My bank account said 0, and I thought, I had a friend over there. His name's Eric Williams. Shout out to Eric. But he made fun of me because he was like, "That's what you get. You lost it within a day, bro. I mean, it dropped." And I was like, "Well,
oh, that all happened within a day. It wasn't even like a slow bleed. It was just like
no.
Peace out."
As soon as I bought it, it went straight to 0001 the next day, and I'm like, wow, that's it. It's gone. And I thought, you know what? I have no way of. I didn't know I could recover it if it went back up because I thought it just went bankrupt.
So when you say 000, does that mean was 0001 on the ask, meaning there was no bid, or could you still?
There was no bid.
Oh, so it was literally you could not get out if you wanted to. The only way you could get out at that point in time for you listeners is, believe it or not, stocks do get to the point where you simply cannot sell. Your only way to get out is if somebody purchases on the offer, and that's it. There is no, and we're not going to get into the anatomy of level 2s, but there does reach. Now this point is like worst case scenario, but Romeo has experienced this, so that's funny in a compassionate kind of way that you've literally been like, all right, I cannot sell this at all if I want to right now. I'm totally dependent on the market itself in terms of somebody purchasing at the offer. So, but in one day, and you said you bought at 0007?
No, 0002 is what I bought it.
Okay, all right. Well, that's not. I thought at first it was 0007, and then it dropped all the way down to 000. No bid in one day. I was thinking, but regardless, so you were just.
I was heartbroken, bro.
Yeah. So you believed in it that much, huh?
I did, man. I even had my friend who's Marco. Shout out to Marco. He's my accountant. I mean, I had him look through all their files, and he goes, "The only thing that's holding this company's back is money." And I'm like, man, that makes sense. If some investor comes in and starts buying this, I mean, we're talking about dollars, brother, dollars. So he gave me $250 to put more in there, and that didn't work out for like.
Clay, did you have your accountant look at me and say the only thing holding this kid back is dollars, and that's all it might take to kind of bumpstart me in my career?
Yeah, I mean that's maybe some mind shares too. I mean, there might be some toxic.
They're in the mail,
finance.
right?
Yeah, they're in the mail. Man. They will be to you tomorrow. So, all right, so that's interesting. So you put in 1,000. Your accountant looks it over and says, "Hey, they just need cash." What was this device, by the way? Out of curiosity, that had. I mean, was it a Kool-Aid maker, or what was what did this thing do?
It definitely was all flavors. I mean, I forget what I was looking it up yesterday, and it was just
come on, man! For such a world-changing item, you don't even remember what this.
I believe it has to do with their eyes, something to do with the eyes, some surgical instrument that was going to just change the world, just the way it was. It was reading.
It changed the world. I mean, it changed your bank account down to 0. It sounds like. I mean, I don't.
It did. But
so, anyways, yeah. So it's literally your account says 0. So where did things go from here? I mean, did you ever get out of this thing, or I mean,
I guess 6 months I looked at my account, and my account said 0, 0, 0, and then all of a sudden, I'm at work, and I mean, I've got my superintendent, I've got my supervisor, and all my friends, Eric including. Because he was laughing at me the whole time. It's like, "That's what you get, idiot." And all of a sudden, man, this thing started shooting off like fireworks. I mean, I saw, because Scottrade, I didn't have 25,000 at the time, so I had like their cheap version of level 2s and all that. And well, it didn't even have a level 2. It just showed me the bid and ask. But the volume picked up like crazy, and I was like, "Oh, this is it, brother. This is what I'm talking about." And here I am trading at my job with my people there, and I'm thinking I'm about to quit because this thing's going to go to $1. And unfortunately, for like 3 weeks, it did go up to 0009. And
wait, and you got in at 0002?
Yes.
So that's like what, like a 300% gain or something like that?
Yes.
Wait for it.
No. I got out at 0005, bro. I mean, I got out. I doubled my money, man. But I didn't know. I just hit the sell because, I mean, like I said, I saw the chart. At the time, I didn't know what charts were, but I saw the chart go up and down, and kept hitting that resistance at 0.009. And I was like, man, you know what? If it hits half of that, I'm going to go ahead and get out. And the next day, sure enough, it did. It went down to 0005 and then collapsed, and it since then it hasn't done anything.
So the good news is obviously you did make some money on it. However, it probably wasn't the life-changing money you wanted to, and that house in Cancun you were pricing out. You didn't actually achieve that in your first trade now, did you?
No, but it gave me like a steroid shot, bro. Like honestly, I thought I was the king of the world for putting the money where it needed to be at the right time, even though I had to wait 6 months.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait a second. There was 6 month layover there, so let's.
But you got to think about it. I got almost triple my money. I mean, I looked at it and I'm like going, 1,500, 1,800, 2,000. This is crazy.
No, I fully get it. That's funny because that's how the mind works. And for you new listeners, you may be thinking, because I'm going to defend Romeo. What's this Romeo? Trust me, the voices in your head, even though you get in at a terrible time, have to wait 6 months, and then like Romeo admitted, and then all of a sudden the volume just started like fireworks going off. So that was just pure. I mean, that just in and of itself shows how random it was. It's not like he was expecting this 6 months from now. I mean, if he was really expecting it 6 months from now, he would have waited 6 months and then just gotten in then. But yet the voices made him, like you said, he thought he was king of, oh man, you felt like Superman. Is that a pretty accurate statement?
I did, man. I really did. And, at the time I was getting a divorce. So when I was finishing my divorce finalized, right? And that's when the money came in. I was like, holy crap, at the right time. I was able to pay my lawyer. Next thing you know, I'm dating my wife now, and I'm over there talking to her like I'm the king of stocks, brother. I'm just like, man, I know what I'm doing. It's all good. And that's where I lost control.
So do you call your wife brother, or is it you say sister or
sister?
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
I
mess with her. I mess with her, but it's just
that was funny to hear. So I'm telling my wife, listen, brother, wait a second. All right. Yeah. Anyways.
Well, I'm talking to her like I would my friends.
No, I totally get it. It was funny though. I'm like a little child. I'm like a kitten. Like if a piece of yarn flies by me, I get totally sidetracked. But anyways, so this is what we like to call fool's gold. So it sounds like you got an IV of fool's gold just pumping through your veins at this point in time. So, where did you go? I mean, did you have any other positions on during the 6 month period, or is it literally just your account's at zero, so you didn't put any money in and you just waited? Is that essentially how it went?
That was it, man.
Okay.
As soon as I saw that thing, as soon as I saw a profit, and that's the thing with me, it's not just profits. Like over here in Shreveport, we can go to the boats, which I don't go very often, but each time I've gone, I won $1,000. Well, to me, coming out positive is the best thing. So I'm walking out. I'm thinking this is casino style. Get out, enjoy it, and have fun. Well, then I went and took out a $5,000 loan.
Uh-oh.
Wait a sec. So you cashed out of the trade. You have money in your account, and then you go get a loan for more trading money.
Yeah, because I think it's $5,000 to trade with margin. So at the time, I'll have a total of $7,500.
Okay. Well, this just I was not aware that you ever did this. So
all right, no, it gets even better.
All right. So now you're taking out a literal loan. It's not like you're trading on margin. Actually, it's like, whoa, how do you describe this, Ches? It's like you take out a loan to then trade on more loan money. So it's like
it's margin on margin, and then there's a guy who's gonna break your knees if you don't pay him back too. So it's a tough place to be in.
All right. Well, you're at $7,500. Where do things go from here? This is I'm on the edge of my seat right now. This is kind of crazy.
Okay, so that's when I joined your trading group, and I'm not saying that you're the fall for it, but I did your under one, and that's after all this pot stocks and all that, all that great stuff that happened before I got in. It was just coming down. It was crashing. And
the bubble was popping as far as the marijuana stocks.
Yeah. But the thing is, I didn't buy any of your courses. I just got into the chat so I can get some hot stock picks because Penny happened to get in some trouble or something and had to take out his Twitter account, and everybody was. I mean, I missed work. I saw this happen. I missed work so I can trade the next day with my margin. That's what I was going to do. The problem is whenever they obviously now I can see the volume that everybody bought in the day before, and they were like, this is the stock to buy, blah, blah, blah. And I really did try because I thought I was going to make $20,000 that day because I was going to go in deep. And Penny said, this is what's going to happen. And I forgot it was a pot stock. and ERBB.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar. That
Yeah,
was definitely
Yeah.
that was a typical one.
That thing, I mean, I'm looking at the chart, and like I said, I'm an amateur, so or I'm worse than that. And I'm looking at it, I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna be rich. I mean, that thing was trading at a penny. Oh, this is gonna be great. And when I couldn't even get in the trade, I just sat on my hands. But as soon as I did that, I mean, the stock just collapsed. And I remember people on your chat room talking, "Oh my gosh, like this is horrible." Because it also did it on another one he did, DNA X. It's like an energy drink. I don't know if you remember that. It went from
I
like
traded that one. Yes, I
Triple-
do remember
Oh,
that one.
Ches having some deja vu. Nice.
triple 20, brother, up to a penny or 2 pennies. I mean, it was sick. And then that day they said something about Coca-Cola not being their distributor, and that thing tanked the next day to like triple 30. And I thought to myself, holy crap.
Who
I
would have
got
thought that
super
Coca-Cola didn't want any part of that energy drink?
But it's here
yes,
in Texas, man. I'm thinking, man, I should partner with these guys and go to their, go get their. I was going to get their drink, and I'm glad I didn't, because man, there's a lot of people that got hurt that day.
I want our listeners to appreciate the fact of the historic day that he actually witnessed in person. Took the day off of work for a historic day, which is pretty much the entire bubble exploding and people literally capitulating and just hopes and dreams and that Cancun house, all those little, clouds floating above their head and all the plans they're trying to make. He got to witness that. And you had to sit on your hands for it. So you didn't even lose all that money and get your knees broken, did you?
No, not at all. And like I thought, like that gap and trap thing. Oh my gosh! I mean, that's exactly what it was. And I thought, wow, if my girlfriend knew I did that, man, she would probably not marry me. I knew she was going to marry me. Come on, I'm Romeo. But that probably would have made her like really skeptical about who I am as far as my integrity goes.
Now, why couldn't you get in? Were you trying to get in, but it was moving too fast? Is that
Yeah,
why?
yeah. I
Okay.
kept typing the numbers, and like it would just skip me and continue to skip me. I mean, and we're talking about 10 cents, 10 cents for every move, and it only took about 6 minutes, 3 bars at a 2 minute interval to really finally top out, and just it was just red, and I thought, man, like this sucks. And like I said, the energy drink, that was the second one. And I thought, because I missed that one. I thought, you know what, I'm going to get rich on the next one. And sure enough, that one happened like maybe 2 or 3 days after. And I'm thinking, I'm getting in it no matter what. I wasn't able to get in that. And by then,
So you had two. You had two that you could not get into.
Yeah, I couldn't get in at all.
And this was.
Scott Trade did the best they could. I mean, I could see the ticker just move. I mean, it was just nuts whenever they announced Coca-Cola and all this other crap. I mean, that Kool-Aid ran, brother. And I thought, golly, if only I could have gotten even 1 million shares. I was really thinking millionaire at that point, and it didn't happen.
And wow, so this is I'm racking my brain. Ches, feel free to chime in but I don't know if we've ever had anybody dodge 2 massive bullets like you have before. I mean, literally, you avoided 2 just getting hit head on by a train.
I wish my broker would have helped me stop, pretty much shooting myself in the face trading some of these stocks. So yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that.
Now, at this point, what's going on psychologically? Do you remember? Are you still feeling like Superman, or are you like acknowledging,
No.
holy crap, I almost got into 2 of these that would have totally just wrecked me? So are you starting to?
Yeah, I was shaking.
Okay.
I'm shaking. I don't know if people shake whenever they trade, but I mean, I'm shaking because I'm thinking that could have been my whole account. And
not only that, you'd be paying the bank back or whoever you got that loan from. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, there goes my profit. There goes my loan. I'm stuck. But that didn't get me. What got me was the next best thing, and it was Nate's Food. It's the pancake batter thing. It went from 0.0020 all the way to like 16 cents or something like that. The problem is Scott Trade couldn't. I don't know why they couldn't fill me, but they finally filled me, and it was at the very top, man. And that day I didn't miss work. I was just off, and it happened to just come on your website, and then another Twitter guy that was out talking about this crap, and it still upsets me because it went from 0.0020 all the way up to, I believe, 11.15 cents. And the way they were making this story out to be was that this pancake batter was in a can and it was just ready to go. And IHOP and all these Walmart distributors were going to sell this stuff. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get in it. And I got in right at the top.
You know what goes good with Kool-Aid, Clay? Pancakes.
I gotta be honest right now. I think you may have just, I mean, my penny stock story has always been pretty bad. Stainless steel mufflers, but freaking pancakes, man.
Pancakes got me.
You might have just topped me, and I didn't think that was possible, but pancakes in a, all right. Well, first off, I'm gonna give you a little round of applause for just being so transparent and honest. I mean, that's got to be kind of tough to admit. So thank you for just being brutally honest that what got you was pancake mix. So I'm already thinking about the cover images we can use. It's definitely going to involve something with a pancake because this is I don't know really what to say. So anyways, you literally bought the top, so you got filled at like 15 cents or 16 cents or whatever.
Yeah, it was just like that. And the crate. Okay, so what I ended up doing was I held it. I didn't sell. So because I really thought it was just gonna go to the moon. Because then I started reading iHub.
Let me cut in just so sorry to interrupt. But when you bought it, is this the full $7,500, your entire account you put into it?
I'm in.
Okay. All right. So there's risk management from an account perspective. You're 100% in, margin upon margin. I mean, you're all right. So
he's invested.
You're exactly. In. So it starts to fall, and then, like I said, sorry to cut you off, but I want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. So you are all in.
I'm all in. I mean, and I went to your chat room, and I saw people go, "Oh yeah, I made such and such profits," because I mean, it was incredible, 1,000% profit. I mean, crazy. And I didn't know about getting in, getting out, doing this. I'm thinking, I just want my $7,000 back, completely back, if not $1 more, just for the headache and being in the stock. And it didn't do that, man. And I held, and I held, and I held, and then that loan started coming in. They wanted the payments, and I'm thinking, this sucks bad. Well, it went down to about a penny, and I literally have $200, $300. And guess what that was? That was a freaking bottom, bro. I sold at the bottom. I barely had enough to make that first damn payment. And I'm going, I suck big time. I'm a failure. I will never do this again.
I guess my question though still goes back to, I mean, you made the comment that you were literally shaking after watching those first two. Yeah. So what the heck happened? I mean, let's face it, you chased, right? So this pancake batter, when you totally chased the thing. So what, did you forget about those first two that caused you to shake, or how? Because this is just very fascinating on how the human mind works, but how exactly, I mean, how did you forget about those first two? I mean, what allowed you to chase in such a bad way? I mean, your mind just totally, it was greed that took over, right? I
exactly. Mean, that's it. And that's my biggest, later on in the conversation, that's one of my biggest faults, things that I have that I'm still working on. But it was greed, bro, because I really thought, because I missed the first two that were 100, 200, 300%, and now I'm at 1,000%, or a stock that's up 1,000%. I really thought it could go up to $1 within a day. I had no clue. I'm just looking at it going, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I really did. And I didn't even shake. My stomach was upset, but I didn't shake even when I made that trade, because I was so damn sure it was gonna do it. And that's when I was introduced to not just your thing, but iHub. And those guys are fantastic, like salespeople.
I was going to say, I hope you use the word salespeople, not technicians.
Yes, no technicians, salespeople. And I'm going, you know what? These articles, these investors, and I didn't realize the debt that this guy was in, or the debt that the company was in. and it just kept falling and falling and falling. And finally, I just had to say, you know what? I have to make my first payment, and I need to go ahead and just recover what I can. And that was about 300 something dollars.
At the bottom.
Yeah, at the bottom.
So where the heck did things go from here? You had to
Well,
cash out. You had to make that first payment, so your account is essentially back at zero again. So I
that's
mean,
right.
yeah. So take us from that, because this, whoo, that's the uppercut. That was a KO for a lot. So I mean, but obviously you're still here. We're talking to you right now. So you
Yeah.
bounced back from it. So what were the next several steps you took?
So what I ended up doing was I bought your robotics training, and I bought level twos. I never went back to pennies after that. That was pretty disgusting. But robotics training and level two, because here I'm reading stuff on iHub, and they're going this, that, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm calling them M&Ms. I know that they're market makers, but I'm going M&Ms did that, and M&Ms did this, and I'm going, I don't know what you're talking about, but those freaking M&Ms, they're over here.
And they get blamed. Those M&Ms get blamed for everything too.
Yeah.
If you guys ever need tinfoil for cooking, just head on over to iHub, because there's plenty sitting on most people's heads over there. But so obviously I want to touch back on something, because it stuck out to me. You said you had no plans to go back to penny stocks. So even after you've taken robotic trading, which covers kind of technical analysis, are you just fed up with the garbage names, and are you planning now for the next time you kind of come into the markets that you're going to trade, I don't know, Bank of America, JP Morgan, companies that you were more familiar with?
Yes. We me and my wife, we had talked about maybe doing we were discussing like just business plans, stuff that we wanted to do together before we got married, and I told her, I think stocks are my thing. It's just a lot of work, but the crap that she's like, the crap that you got into, I mean, you just can't trust that. So you need to go into like Apple, Microsoft, and all these big names. And I thought, you know what, that makes sense. And that's what got me into the robotic trading, because I started seeing like I didn't know the patterns at the time before robotic trading, but I started seeing small patterns. I would see like 50 cents gains or losses instead of 1,000% completely gone. So I'm thinking, you know what? I could probably play the in between and make some money. So that was my thought process with robotics and level twos, because I like I said, I'm calling these guys M&Ms, and I have no idea that they're market makers, and how everybody thinks that they're rigging, and I can see companies selling stock and all that, but
Right, but the M&Ms are just doing what their bosses tell them to do. It's not
exactly.
like there's some evil guy sitting behind a desk saying, it's my job to screw. No, they're getting phone calls from somebody else telling them, dilute the stock. I have a bunch of convertible debt that needs to be dumped. So Mr. VFin, you do your thing. But it's not,
that was a big one.
Yep,
Yeah.
so, but anyway, so you learn what M&Ms are. You learn that you don't want to do penny stocks anymore. Your girlfriend gives you very good advice in terms of you just can't trust these companies, and that's exactly it. They're all loaded down in debt. So you start. I'm assuming this. Well, you said this leads you to more of the big board stocks. So, I mean, did you refund the account, or I mean, did you just start to paper trade, or where exactly did you start, or how exactly, I should ask, did you kind of get accustomed to how these bigger board stocks traded?
Okay, so that summer, you would write, "Hey, please be careful. It's the summer. Volume drops. It's boring. Blah blah blah." So, you know what? That summer, I ended up working more overtime. I'm pretty blessed to be able to have a good job, the job that I have. So, I was able to work the overtime and pay that loan off. And I thought to myself, you know what? Do the robotics. And I went and opened a TradeStation. I closed my Scott Trade account because it was crap, and I went and opened an account with TradeStation. Because the one thing that stood out was, do not use your money. Use, paper trade. And at the time, my paper trading was done by paper, like pen and paper, and I was just writing down where I would enter, where I would exit, because that's what robotics was pretty much about. What, as far as candles, I was really interested in candles. Moving averages was something that I really liked too. because I had, like I said, I had no idea what the heck any of that was. And what caught my attention was oversold and overbought. My RSI. Sorry, I was more interested in the oversold and overbought on my RSI. The main reason RSI was important to me is, remember, my pancakes, it failed me. It failed me miserably. And I bought the bottom. And you know what? When I pulled up the chart, guess what it said when I pulled up the RSI? Oversold. And I thought, you know what? If I had known this, maybe I wouldn't have sold the bottom. Maybe I would have made a little bit more back than just $300.
And that's hindsight is we're all great in hindsight, but obviously, you definitely were not equipped with the tools or kind of the knowledge at that time. And buying the top and selling the bottom is almost a rite of passage, unfortunately, for most people. It just was unfortunate that obviously it kind of blew out that account. But like I said, that's not uncommon by any means. But I wanted to kind of take a little bit of a detour here because I know you'd kind of sworn off penny stocks. And I know actually, as pretty much volume and that whole bubble burst, penny stocks, that whole market in general was pretty much dead. Now, did you have, I know we just had started, or Clay started putting out a course on options, and that was an easy way for kind of folks with a smaller account, including myself, to start trading those names like, you and your wife had discussed, like Apple or Microsoft. Did you look in or think about any of that?
I did, but at the time I didn't do the, like I said, at the time I just didn't know anything. And I liked the options. When he put out his video about what he was actually doing, I thought, you know what? It interests me, but as of right now, I just don't know enough as far as trading wise what I'm looking at in order to go ahead and purchase that. And so I gave those those two courses. I mean, I worked shift work, so I work nights and days, and I just rotate. And I probably spent six hours of my time at work studying when I come back home. I mean, I had zombie eyes. I mean, I was really focused on what was important and what wasn't, what worked for me, because Clay trades differently than me. And I saw people in the chat room trade differently than me. And I'm going, well, if I follow them, I honestly don't know what's going on in their head. They're just saying, wolf candle or something that, a river. I'm not going to be specific because I know you're really particular about your class. But just because they're saying this doesn't mean that I have to play it exactly the same. But if I don't even understand what they're talking about, all I'm going to do is get mad at Clay and go, Clay's a cheater. Clay is the worst teacher ever. And ruin I'm the type that I will just go down like that. I would let my account just dwindle just to make a point that his courses suck. And in reality, it was me. It was my mentality.
So you realize that everybody trades differently. You, within robotic trading, we're learning the tools of how to trade, but the sort of strategy that you're going to build is, like you said, up to you, because you don't trade like I do. Other people aren't going to trade like you do. You could have, a wolf candle to you, maybe played differently by somebody else or by myself. So you started to realize, hey, there's many ways up the profit mountain, right? You just got to have the right tools to get up the mountain. Is that essentially what you're saying? That's
it. And in particular, it was the candlesticks that got me even more focused on almost reading a book, like what the turnout of the book is going to be just from the first half of the book. And I say that because it's a story, man. It's a freaking story. Each day you're going to wake up and it's going to be a different chapter. And it's how you're reacting to that chapter. If you're angry at what it's telling you and you're going against it, you're going to lose, brother.
That's a great point, because that's what I still struggle. All traders always struggle with. It's like, no, this is not how the story should be going. This is not how this setup should be looking. And I think it should go like this. I think, this chapter should, go in this direction. And then you trade with what you think. And like I said, it's not what the chart is actually telling you is going on. So yeah, that's a super interesting way to look. I like how you explain that, because that's That's what'll get you in trouble every single time when you try to force your will upon, the quote unquote story that the chart is telling you is going on. That's an interesting way, isn't it, Ches? To can you relate to this where you think a story should do some other thing and then you're like, you know what, I'm going to trade it the way I think it should go.
Yep. No, it's completely relatable, but he really just summed it up. Just exactly. I don't think you could have said it better.
Yeah. It's like the Game of Thrones right now. You think all these people should survive till the end, and they get killed, and I'm like, no way, and that's what I get.
All right, well done on not offering any spoilers, because who knows where people are. So good job, Romeo. Good analogy without doing spoilers, because lots of people get killed for sure. But we won't say who is who. So if you're back on season 2 right now, Romeo didn't say any names, but people will die, and we'll just leave it at that. So where are you at, currently in your journey? I mean, hopefully you're not like putting everything in some waffle mix company right now, are you?
Well, no.
Okay.
And
that's good.
And the story got a little bit better as far as where I got the money. So I spent the whole summer working the overtime to pay off the the $5,000 that I really owed, but with interest, I don't even remember. But what I ended up doing, opening a TradeStation account, and I'm in your chat room, believe it or not. I do get on there, and I like talking to Artie Trader's one of them. I talked to Chaz and Hooch. I like the way they think. But Artie Trader, like I said, I work nights, so he is on. I mean, at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. I don't know why, but dude, you need to get some rest. But he was like, you know what? You ought to give CTU a chance. And I thought, why? Like, what in particular got you? And he goes, it's not that it got me. It's just you got to think about it. You get all the courses all up front, and you also get the chat room free. And he does all this stuff with not only just your videos that you give out for free, but all the other videos that you give out, your webinars. And he's like, man, dude, I just learned a lot off of it, and I believe you could do it too. I mean, you could just grow off of that. And that's what I did. That next day, I went ahead and purchased it. You didn't give me much of a discount, but it's whatever. But I did. I went. I'm the type that if I'm going to go in, I'm going to go in big time. I mean, I'm not going to wuss out. And it was honestly one of those wake up calls, because I thought even with just the robotics in level 2 that I had it under control, and the options were coming out too. And I looked at them and I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting and incredible, because Hooch was really big into moving from stock equities into options, and he was just posting his P&Ls, and I'm like, wow, he doesn't have to have that much money, and at the same time, he's still making what I would if I were to invest $120,000 each trade. And in October, I told my friend that's the accountant, I said, Marco, I think I want to do this big time. He goes, well, I really didn't like the way the penny stocks traded, but you know what? He let me borrow $20,000, and it was one of those. He's my best friend, so I got to respect him for that. But what I also did is I took out another loan for $20,000, so I had up to $40,000 worth of trade or money to trade with. And I got a good interest rate, but the thing is, I didn't start trading real money until February 2nd. So this is October. So February 2nd of 2015 is actually when I started. And I've done well. I was able to pay back the money completely.
Ches and I are over here looking at each other, holding our breath like, oh crap!
You really love having the pressure of the world on your shoulders, don't you?
Oh my goodness! Oh. And for you listeners out there, I realize that everybody's a skeptic by nature. I swear, none of this was pre-planned. Ches and I, I had no idea that Romeo did that, and I certainly did not know what the outcome there was going to be. So Ches and I was looking at him, and he's probably looking at me, and we're both holding our breaths like, oh, Romeo. So, but things are going well. You paid back both loans?
Yes, I paid it.
Awesome.
And as a matter of fact, I gave him his money completely back with I think I made $13,000 off of just his money. And here's another thing. My wife now, I married her. That was February 2nd that I started it, 2015. And my wife, I married her on the 21st of February. So that was kind of one of those. So not to tell you that I'm lying to you or keeping things from you. I am trading stocks full time now. And with real money. And she goes, "What the hell are you talking about?" Because I told her I wasn't going to do anything until I was ready. And I didn't want the pressure of the wedding, and everything that was coming up to kind of concern her. I wanted her to enjoy that month to get ready to marry me because she's marrying me. And she didn't take it very well at first, but when she started noticing that I was profitable, she was just like, don't do that again. As far as keeping things from me, let's just be up front. And at the same time, you were starting to do your podcast, and I forgot his name, but the thing is, financially, we're good, but the problem is that we're big spenders, and obviously, when you start making money, you start thinking that you can buy stuff, and we did. We went on trips, we went on certain things that she just wasn't aware where the money was coming from. She just knew that we're just going. I'm buying. I'm doing. And all of a sudden, you did a podcast, and Dave Ramsey came on.
Okay, yeah, yep. He's come up on a few different ones. So,
yeah, but this was the first time that you've ever discussed them, and it was a guy. I forgot.
I think it was Super Dave.
That's it, Super Dave. That's him. I even commented on his podcast, but either way, and it's right. I shouldn't be trading with money that I owe. Because if I didn't learn the first time with my $5,000 investment, a $20,000 loan to pay back is really hard, and it's not just hard just financially. It's hard as far as my marriage would go, because my wife wouldn't understand one bit of the amount of she wouldn't understand. She would just think that I was just crazy and stupid, and basically that's what it is. If I can't accept my loss, if I can't accept that the story didn't go the way I wanted, man, it can go quickly. And thanks for that, because I did stop trading. I paid back the loan, like I said, completely back, and me and her saved up, and now I'm trading my money. I say our money.
There you go.
And I'm doing well. I'm struggling a little bit here. This past month really got me. I'm down a good percent on my almost 2% on my account.
But you're down by taking losses, right?
Yes.
Keyword being taking losses, as opposed to Pancake, where he's holding losses, and they keep getting bigger and bigger. Go ahead.
Can we also stress the point that there's literally 2% of his entire account, not 20%.
No, that's true. I forgot. The first was 100% of his account.
Yes, 2%, which is totally manageable and totally livable. And you can hear it in your voice right now. You're like, I'm kind of bummed about it. It's a bummer, but you're taking good small losses. You can recover 2%. It's much easier to recover 2 than it is 20. So I just want to make sure that people
100%. I totally forgot. The good observation. Yeah, the guy freaking went from leveraged money 100% in, and now he's like, yeah, his tone was like, you can tell he's like, that's down 2%. So well done, sir. From 100% of your account, being gone to, you've lost 2%. I'd say that's risk management at its best. So, but you are, like you said, you're trading you and your wife's money now, right? There's no more loans involved or anything?
No. There's no more loans. Just right now, like I said, I'm frustrated because I did get kicked out of the pattern day trading or whatever. So I'm back to 3 trades every 5 days. And I think that's the better challenge for me. And like you said, the risk management. I told my wife, hey, I am down. I'm not going to lie to you. Because when I was profitable and I started losing some of that profit, I completely got out because it's profit, right? I mean, why would I want to give back if I'm having a good year at work? I'm having a good year at stocks. Why give it back? I tried not to be greedy. So being out from, let's just call it November around my birthday till just now here recently in April, I'm only down 2%. And I told her if I had stayed in and not gotten scared over the $2,000 that I lost compared to the 30-something thousand that I've made, I could have easily made that up with time. And that's where I am right now. I'm not giving up. I'm not backing down and going, okay, next year. No.
You're adjusting right now. You're adjusting of, the account size is different now, right? Because you're not going to trade on leverage money. So you're really just, I'm not trying to talk for you, but it sounds to me like you're going through an adjustment period because you can trade. You've already proven that. But now the account size is a little bit smaller. So you're just, you're kind of, wiggling around a little bit, adjusting to, just kind of find your groove for this particular account size. Is that kind of an accurate representation of kind of where you're at right now? So you can do it. It's just a matter of, making a few minor adjustments. Like Ches, you sound like Ches. Ches isn't really adjusting, but he tried some different directional things. Now you've adjusted back to your bread and butter with even more adjustments, right, Ches, in terms of your farming and not looking for those steroidal crops, but more so
slow and steady wins the race in this. And, just like Clay said, you know how to trade. Now, granted, you can't be, flying in and out day trading or whatever because you're still under PDT. It doesn't matter. You can make 3 good trades per week, and that's more than enough. And like, Clay said, what you're doing is just an adjustment to how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
So, and do you do options at all? Because that kind of gives you wiggle room around the pattern day trading rule.
Not yet, Clay. And
I'm not saying you should either. So that was more of a curiosity thing. I'm not saying that suggesting you should. Just
the thought has crossed my mind. It's honestly, my workload is pretty heavy on me, and I can trade equities, but options as far as really getting into it, the Mona Lisas and all that. I have looked at it, but it's not a strategy that I have time right now to actually try to do it on paper for months to come. I just don't have that time.
Because like you said, you're working, right?
Yes, sir.
And I bring that up because, and this is like the worst thing ever for people, but the best way to grow your trading account for all you listeners out there is to have one of those JOBs. Sure, it can, make time a little bit harder, but you know what? That's income that's coming in. There's no speculation about that. So that was a good answer. You just don't have the time, which tells me that you're definitely not going to be rushing anything, which is so much more important. So you keep growing that account with that JOB. And
definitely.
When time comes, you can, if you want to go down that path. But there is absolutely no shame at all in not having time because you're actually growing your account through, an actual job. So you echo that, Ches, right? There's no shame there at all, right? That's
no shame at all. It's completely valid, and it's just so much better mentally as well. So completely valid.
Yeah.
So, and right now, even I'm not completely debt free. I have done the Dave Ramsey. I am doing the Dave Ramsey program. So
nice.
I have to get a lot of that debt.
So you're working on your snowballs right now, right?
Right. And now I'm at the major part. So it's like you said. You like some of his stuff that he says. I don't follow it completely to 100% what he thinks. I don't believe in it, all of it. But I can tell you one thing. Just seeing the way Ches, and Hooch, and these guys, they're not out there telling you, these are the winners, these are the 1,000%. But what they are telling you is it just didn't work out. It didn't do what I think it did, and so I'm out. And that I'm out is important to people. I think it should be important to you because holding on to that. It's the most depressing thing that you could do to your life if you're going to be a stock trader. Is holding on to those losers and going maybe. There's no maybe, bro. If it didn't work out, just get it out.
And I'm sure Clay would echo this because he's done it a lot longer than I have. But just any trader in general who's turned the road and started to be profitable, the hardest thing to learn to do is to admit you're wrong, which is just a psychology thing based on everything we learn in our life. We don't want to ever be wrong. It's just a human thing. In trading, you can try to be right for 12 years holding a penny stock, and eventually you just wasted your whole account when you could have just quickly ripped off the Band-Aid, said you were wrong for a small loss, and just like you just said, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I had an idea, it didn't work. That's fine. I do know that the ideas that I do have that work out, I'm willing to risk a small amount to make a larger amount, and that's how you win in the long game. So that's easily the hardest thing to do. and most of the time people have to learn it in a hard way. But you learned it in probably the hardest way possible. First off, your account went to zero in your first trade. Obviously, it recovered and you made money, but I mean, you've had quite the story, that's for sure, regarding kind of being able to take good losses.
Yeah.
I'm still amazed at the fact that you sounded so sad that you're down 2%, and I just think to the beginning of this podcast. So it's just amazing.
And I gotta just comment too, because my adrenaline's flowing. But yeah, that he just summarized risk man. Now risk management, there's a lot that goes into it, but he summarized it. If you as a person can't grasp onto those words, I'm out. You got to find something else to do, because I'm out. You're going to be using it as a disciplined trader, that is. And if you're not using it, then it's only a matter of time before your account's at zero, because you got to be able to be like, all right, not working out. That's fine. I'm out. And then just move on. Right. I mean, we are not building long-term relationships with these stocks. If they're not treating us right, that's fine. They got one over on us. Peace out. I'm out. And that, my friends, is risk management right there. So well said, Romeo, in terms of that. Well, looking at the clock here, we got to start to wrap things up. We're definitely going to have you back at some point in time, because like I said, you know how to trade, and you were trading well. You just had a revelation that, I shouldn't be trading right now on leveraged money. I want to make it, my own personal money. So that's, it's not a matter of you doing stupid stuff. It's actually a matter of you being smart. But so we'll definitely have you back at some point in time. But Ches, believe it or not, has a time machine. So if he were to lend you this time machine and be like, Romeo, my brother, you can use this and go back to the start, what would be that one bit of advice you'd give yourself?
Man, you know what? It's gonna have to be, if I could go back, it would be at that pancake damn business. I would tell myself just to sit there and watch it, because I think that third time, I would have been even. Just
here, I'm going to do this.
Myself.
I'm going to do this, because this is the first time. I'm actually going to go with you in this time machine. So it's a 2-seater, right, Ches? 2 seats.
Well, I mean, you're going to be a little tight.
I'm sitting on Romeo's lap. Okay, so I'm going to sit on your lap, Romeo. We're going back, and you're not going to say sit there. What you're going to say is when you buy the top and it starts to pull back against you, you're going to sit there and be like, I'm out.
Sell.
I'm out. Okay, I bought the top. That was not smart. I'm out. We'll take your advice that you just said, and we're going to apply it right there, because that would be the perfect, because there's no shame in buying at a wrong spot and being wrong. That's going to happen to everybody. But like you said, you got to be able to tell yourself, I'm out, and just move on. So, that's what you would tell yourself. I'd be like, hey, say that you're out, and then you do that. So can you get behind that? Is that a good thing? Is that probably something that would be worth
that would be it. I mean, if I started seeing some negative numbers immediately, I'd be out.
Yeah,
now.
I'm out.
I mean, I'd do it now. Yeah, so my time machine would be that day with you on my lap,
going attaboy,
going get out, and that would be it.
Very cool. Now, so what would you say is your favorite movie?
Oh man, it's gonna have to be. Are you not entertained? Yeah.
Oh, that's Gladiator all day long. Yeah, that's. I do that to my wife sometimes. I'll just walk around the living room with my arms up in the air, and I just start saying that, and she just is like, "Get out of here, Sale."
Get out of here, bro.
Yeah,
that's my wife.
Yeah, that's a great quote. That's you can use that in any setting too. I mean, even if it doesn't make sense, it's cool to walk around with your hands up, pretending you're Maximus, and then just scream that out. Food wise, what do you like to eat for food, and follow it up with dessert?
Man, I'm a big pizza guy. I love pizza. Me and my wife do. But dessert, big time. I'm a cheesecake fanatic, man. Strawberries, I don't like anything else on them, but yeah, that right there.
All right, well, I'm a cheesecake guy too, so we will eat cheesecake as I sit on your lap in the time machine.
Oh, jeez.
Oh man! All right. How about some Kool-Aid?
Yeah, even better.
All right, IT Nate. Now we've thought of an image for the entire podcast. It's playing Romeo, sitting on each other's laps, eating cheesecake in a time machine. So yeah, I don't know if we'll get that many people clicking on it. That's the image.
Don't forget drinking the Kool-Aid.
Don't forget the pitcher of Kool-Aid. That's right. Now, what do you do for fun or hobbies outside of the market?
Man, you know what? We do a lot of things with my son. We do baseball. Baseball, definitely. My wife's a Boston fan. I'm a Yankees fan, so that's where the Yankees versus Boston.
The name makes sense.
I was going to ask that as the final question, but okay, that does make perfect sense.
Yeah, which if she were here, she'd tell you that I lied to her. I did tell her I was a Boston fan. I was, okay? But when she came into my house, obviously I got nothing but Yankee stuff. So.
Well, it sounds like you are in a good relationship now, and you've compromised, right, with your screen name. It's Yankees versus Boston, so everybody has their. It's open to interpretation.
Yeah.
Where do you want to visit someday? If you could go anywhere, don't worry, we're not going in the time machine, so I won't be sitting on your lap for this trip. So if you and your wife could go anywhere, where do you think you'd want to go?
Oh man, we want to go to Italy. We want to do that. Hopefully soon. Just trying to save up for that.
Yeah, I've had some of my family go, and they say it's absolutely amazing. But I would also like to check out Italy and France and just Europe in general. But
Europe, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, just Europe as a whole. But what are 3 words you believe should be associated with successful trading?
Ooh. Stops is one.
Ooh, I like that.
2 is diligence. I'm a big support and resistance guy, so diligence, going back in the chart and looking at it instead of just getting in it. And 3, it's almost compromise. Just with yourself, with just being honest with yourself. Honesty.
Okay, honesty. I like that. Compromise with yourself, not compromise your trade plan, because that can get you into trouble. But
yes.
If you gotta, like you said, be honest with yourself and compromise. And like, look, I'm stupid. How can I compromise? Yes, all us traders have conversations with the voices in our head. So that may sound silly, but it does exist. So yeah, I like those a lot. So yeah, good answer. And I guess with that, like I said, we'll definitely have you back at some point in time, because I'm curious to see how your adjustment and all that stuff goes. But thank you very much for hanging out with us this afternoon. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Hey, thanks for letting me, share my story. Most important, those podcasts, man, they do help out certain people that really want to do this. So just keep it going. Your videos, man, all honesty, they're probably some of the best, transparent type, either profits or losses that anybody's showing out there. So thank you, and definitely.
You're welcome. And again, thank you for hanging out and being so honest. I don't think it's going to be topped. Pancake, you drank pancake Kool-Aid. So for any of you future interviewees out here, if you think you can beat that, I want to interview you, because that's between me and Romeo, stainless steel mufflers and pancake mix. I don't know. I think that sets the bar pretty high.
Pancakes in a bottle, buddy. Pancakes in a bottle.
There we go. I can't wait to go on our time machine, sit on your lap and eat that cheesecake. And drink our Kool-Aid. That's going to be a good time. So anyways, thank you again to Romeo. For you listeners out there, if you're listening to this on the website, go ahead and click that share button. Leave us a comment below. We do read those and appreciate any sort of feedback. If you're listening on iTunes or any of the other podcast players, leave us a ranking, leave us a rating, and subscribe so you can keep up to date on all future podcasts. And for those of you that are, I guess, watching on YouTube, click that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out the YouTube channel. I mean, there's a lot of other videos out there that are free, live trading, analysis videos, all sorts of good stuff. So check out the YouTube channel, and again, comment on any of those videos. We do read those. So thanks again to Romeo. Thanks again to all you listeners. We'll see you back for the next episode.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.